Hello, today we are going to discuss abandon rate, what it is and how you should measure it. First, the definition. Abandon rate is the percentage of calls to a group that are hanging up the phone, thereby declining to wait any longer to connect to an agent. I want to help you define an abandon rate goal for your call center. There's a common misconception that this should be 0%. While it's a noble goal to want to service every single one of your customers, that actually winds up being very inefficient. In order to accomplish a 0% abandon rate, you need to pick up your phone very quickly once it rings. To accomplish this, agents must always be available, and an always available agent is an agent who is not busy. This is wasted time in a call center and a key indicator of overstaffing. So we've established that 0% isn't the goal, but what should the goal be? For this, we look to customer satisfaction rates. I've borrowed a chart here from MetricNet. They offer excellent insights into call center metrics, and I would highly recommend you check them out. They've correlated call abandonment rate to customer satisfaction. Take a look at the 0% abandon rate section here. We find that customer satisfaction is around 92%. Note that this stays at 92% all the way to a 4% abandon rate. So, in a 0 to 4% abandon rate, customer satisfaction is relatively unaffected by abandon rate. Thus, a good lower limit for your goal abandon rate should be 4%. For the upper limit, I recommend 8%. At 8% or higher, you start to see a rapid decline in customer satisfaction. But in the 4 to 8% range, you have a healthy balance of customer satisfaction and staffing level. Much lower, and you have a clear indication of overstaffing. Much higher, and we see a clear indication that you are negatively impacting customer satisfaction. So we've now defined a benchmark, and you've gone and looked at your abandon rate, and maybe you've found that you aren't in that perfect range. What do you do? To start solving abandon rate problems, you need to take a look at queue times. Queue time is the average amount of time a customer waits in your group before the next action is taken. I want you to look at this information in two ways: overall queue time and abandoned queue time. The overall queue time is for all of your customers. How long are they waiting on average before the next action is taken? Another way to put this is, how long are you asking your customers to wait on average? Abandoned queue time is how long your customers who abandon the queue waited before doing so. Another way to put this is, how long are your customers willing to wait for you? When these two numbers get out of sync, we start to find abandon rate problems. Let's look at a live example. Here's the abandon rate curve for a customer. We can see at a quick glance that their abandon rate appears to be low relative to the range displayed here. If we drill through this data, we can drag on our abandon rate percentage, and we find our assumption is validated. They have a 3.2% abandon rate. So, we have a clear indicator that they are overstaffed because their abandon rate is lower than 4%. Now let's drag on wait average time. The average amount of time a customer waits overall is 44 seconds, but the average amount of time an abandoned caller waits is 1 minute and 13 seconds. There's a big gap here. Abandoned callers are willing to wait longer than being asked. Combined with the indication of overstaffing, we could play around with the staffing level of this group, allow the overall wait time to increase, see the abandon rate normalize, and not have a significant change in customer satisfaction. Now, let's say the opposite problem is occurring. You have a 15% abandon rate. Your overall wait time is 2 minutes, and your abandoned callers are hanging up around 1 minute and 30 seconds. In this case, your customers are saying that they aren't willing to wait as long as you're asking. You have two options here: decrease your overall queue time or find a way to increase your abandoned callers' willingness to wait. Decreasing overall queue time will require additional staff. That means overhead and time to train them up to speed. This is not an overnight fix and may not even be possible for you right away. So, I would recommend tackling the other side. How can you adjust to increase your customers' willingness to wait for you? The best way to do this is with your messaging. What plays to a customer while they are waiting in queue? You could try different messages, different music, or even something fun like a trivia game. A/B test these things and try out different solutions week over week. If it's a negative response, peel back to what you had before. If it's a positive response, keep that messaging and keep trying new things until you decide what is best for your call center. So that is an abandon rate recommendation of 4 to 8% and how to use queue times to solve abandon rate problems. For more information and metrics like these, please visit brightmetrics.com.